Do you guys remember the skin I live in? Because I do. Yeah, I did a video similar to this one about the human centipede, and now I'm gonna get into controversial territory and make a video like this about a movie that's actually pretty liked. But, I personally think was a little too much, and this time I've actually seen this movie. So, this movie is a Spanish film called The Skin I Live In. The movie is about a crazy doctor, played by Antonio Banderas, by the way, who has this girl in his mansion that he performs all these different cosmetic surgeries on. The girl at one point tries to herself, and he saves her life because, she's his prisoner in his dark domain, and one of the first things he mentions is how soft the fake fireproof skin he's given her is and how unexpected that is. He watches this girl very creepily too, like from all these security cameras. It's very, very weird. At some point, this dude called Vincent, who's in a tiger costume, comes up to the mansion, and his mother, Mariella, who by the way was like the most annoying character in this movie, answers the phone. He picks up and goes, "Mommy, let me in." She's like, "Oh, okay." And she lets him in, and disaster ensues. Him and his mom get into let's call it a big fight. He sees the girl called Vera and immediately is like, "Gal, I can't believe you're still alive." Kidnaps the girl. Straight up R words her in the most graphic R word scene you will ever see. And Antonio Banderas kills him. This was all within the first 45 minutes of the movie. What was the point of all of that? Exposition. Yeah, after this, all it leads to is the maid, Mariella, being like, "He is my son. I have insanity in my entrails." Mariella then explains that that dude and Antonio Banderas are brothers, but they never knew it. He never finds out, so that information goes absolutely nowhere. But anyway, they were both in love with this girl named Gal. Gal was Antonio Banderas' wife, but she fell in love with the other guy, which follow for part two. Yay, it's time for part two. Yeah, see, apparently Gal, the person that Vera is based on, if you will, one day was just like, I might be married to rich, genius, successful Antonio Banderas, who's the father of my daughter, but you know what? That bald guy who's on drugs? Oh yeah, that's who I want. So she and the guy who just R-worded Vera were escaping together, driving off into the sunset when a car accident happened. Old dude just ran out of the car and left Gal behind to die. Yeah, great choice, girl. And Gal was horribly misfigured from the accident. People thought she wasn't going to make it. Antonio Banderas tried to save her. Mariella says, "What a madman's love can do." Gal did in fact survive, but one day she got a look at herself in the mirror, realized she looked like Gollum from Lord of the Rings, and long story short, she threw herself out the window. How does Mariella know all of this? She doesn't, she literally wasn't there. And anyway, she dies. Her daughter sees it, and then Mariella says her daughter watched it not knowing she would one day suffer the same fate, which, like, spoilers. Anyway, so through no time at all, Antonio Banderas and Vera end up forming a relationship. And one day they decide to go to sleep one night where we get the longest flashback you will ever see. Basically, we find out that Antonio Banderas' daughter was locked in a mental institution but came out to, get used to normal life again. And then this guy named Vincent came around, and Vincent was just kind of a punk. One night he decides to, take a few pills, go to this party, and try to get with this girl. That girl, of course, being Antonio Banderas' daughter. She flips out at one point. He runs off and escapes. She go so crazy that she can no longer bear it, if you know what I'm getting at. Antonio Banderas decides that he's had enough, tracks down Vincent, and slowly but surely starts to turn him into a girl. So, that's right. Vera is actually the person that he believes R-worded his daughter. He is having this weird relationship, if you will, this odd desire for the person he believes R-worded his daughter. Like, they have a conversation about that. Vince is like, I didn't do it. Yes, you did. No, I didn't. I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure I didn't. See, Vincent was on drugs, so Vincent can't make a very good defense for himself. Follow for the next part. Eventually, it comes back to modern day. See, this movie is supposed to be told through a non-linear storytelling, but here all that really means is you get exposition and a flashback that took way too long. At this point, you're probably thinking, what's the point of all this? Where's all this going? Well, let me tell you, now that we've established that every character in this movie is a terrible, awful human being, maybe Vincent, we don't know, that's a gray area. Ugh. Why did it have to be such a gray freaking area at all? Like I'm telling you not to watch this movie, but honestly, it is so weird when it comes to that portion. At some point, the police or whoever approach Antonio Banderas and go, "Hey, you know that Vincent person who came to, get his thing and replaced with a, girl version? Where is he now? Cause he's been missing for a long time." And Antonio Banderas is like, went to do adult movies, I guess. I don't know. The police investigator is like, wait a minute. That Vera person was not there before. What's going on? But then Vera walks in and is like, what are you talking about? I've always been a woman. Everything is totally normal and fine. But then, looks down and sees a newspaper article and is like, oh yeah, I'm a victim in all of this. So eventually she murks Antonio Banderas, who's just like, why, Vera? Which it's like, why do you think? She kills Mariella, who honestly I didn't feel too sorry about. Vera goes back to his, I don't know, it's very, very confusing. Hometown, puts on a dress, reconnects with her old friends and family, or his. The movie just kind of ends with Vera saying, I am Vincent, which I guess means that he's gonna try to go back to living the life she had before, but I don't know. Honestly, I think there were some good ideas in this movie. I think if they explained that Antonio Banderas actually thought that Vera was his dead wife at one point because he was just so far into his insanity, I think that would have worked. What gets me about this movie, honestly, is that people love this one. People, they love it. They've described it as like a dark, twisted fairy tale, which, like, what part of this was a fairy tale at all? But anyway, that's my 2 cents. Please do not watch The Skin I Live In.